till it all burns out. We're like falling stars, miracles dancing on the ground. And we're right with you, the feeling's trying to deep right with you, yeah. And we're right with you, the feeling's trying to deep tight. Suffering grows, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah.
You control the light. It does not control you.
Cosmic eyes, beautiful, burning bright. We will all explode into miracles. It will blow your mind. And we're right with you to feel it, strive to deep dive. Right with you, yeah. And we're right with you to feel it, strive to deep dive. Suffering grows, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, watch the sun come up, beautiful, till it all burns out. We're like falling stars, miracles dancing on the ground. And we're right with you to feel it, strive to deep dive. We're right with you, yeah. And we're right with you to feel it, strive to deep dive. Suffering grows, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah.
Well, hello. Okay, that's today's intro. I am here to speak about something very near and dear to my heart, and I think it's profound information, and I really want you to hear it and absorb it, and hopefully it makes as big of an impact on you as it has on me. So that's my goal. That's what I'm hoping for. So it is about the cerebral spinal fluid and it being the gateway to consciousness. And Dr. Randolph Stone, he invented the polarity therapy. He said the soul swims in the cerebral spinal fluid. And you might agree with him after this presentation. Another quote, fluids come together and the I am appears. And Dr. Andrew Still, the founder of American School of Osteopathy, envisioned the cerebral spinal fluid as an intermediary in the movement of divine intelligence. So how did this all start for me? It's a very fascinating, very interesting way it started. So I remote viewed a place that was in Romania, and it had this ancient crystalline technology that could access you and show you your past, who you are, where you came from, who your ancestors are, and show you things that they experience. And as you watch it, it feels like it's not the easiest thing to watch. Like it's very painful. It's like pouring salt on a wound, because you feel what they feel, and it shows you all that. And it's a very, very intense. And when it was reading me, when I was accessing this, I asked, like, it was like time out. I was like, how is this how is it reading me? How is this reading this? I'm because I wasn't connected. Nothing was, plugged into me, and, it was all wireless, but I wanted to understand, how could you do this? And so I wanted to understand how you interface with it, how you're able to access, how it's able to access you, really, essentially. And, when after I asked that, because it's very visual and it's not all words, and it had shown me after I asked that, this fluid spinning in a certain way up the spinal, like up your spinal cord. And I was like, cerebral spinal fluid? What? So that's what it showed me. So that moment, that interfacing, that amazing experience led me to this. And that is how you're here. That's how you're even listening to any of this, is that whole thing. So let's get into it. Cerebral spinal fluid. What is it? Like, what is cerebral spinal fluid? I mean, it's clear. It's colorless. It's in our brain, in our spinal cord, and it's composed of water. And I found that very fascinating, that it's one molecule different than seawater. And along with, it's got electrolytes, glucose, proteins, and other substances. And it's a cushion or a buffer for the brain. And it provides basic mechanical and immunological protection to the brain inside the skull. So it serves a vital function in cerebral autoregulation of cerebral blood flow. So it stores light and energy current from our soul and our spirit. So that really fascinated me, that this fluid can transmit light, vibrations, movement, and molecules. It transports nutrients and hormones to your central nervous system, and it regulates your circadian rhythms. It regulates your appetite. It provides guiding cues for cell migration. It instructs stem cells to proliferate or differentiate. Ionic balance, eliminates waste, supports and protects the central nervous system. And the cerebral spinal fluid can transmit, like I said, light, vibrations, movement, and molecules. I can't stress that enough. So it circulates throughout the central nervous system. It stores light and energy current from our soul and spirit. And it nourishes and protects the brain and spinal cord. It contains the breath of life that is given in the ventricles of the brain, and it communicates with the brain and instructs it what to do. The substance regulates how new neurons are formed in the brain, and it also receives filtered light coded information from the thalamus, which the chrism does as well. So creates spontaneous states of being, states of consciousness that arise not through mental thoughts, but through the wisdom of a light that is conducted by water. And another fascinating thing is that the dendritic structures of photoreceptor cells in the developing retina, like in your retina and your pineal organ, it resembles those of the CSF, contacting neurons. The CSF contacting neurons have been suggested to function as deep brain photoreceptors. Okay, Amrita. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't. According to Hindu, the word Amrita was used to describe a drink known as soma. The legend says that soma was given to the gods, making them immortal. The other meaning of Amrita refers to the nectar of immortality that is said to flow through our pituitary gland into the back of the throat during the deeper stages of meditation produced by the body itself. And when you reach a state in meditation where your Amrita flows, it is said that you've achieved to reach a higher state of self-awareness and a deep sense of consciousness. And reaching Amrita is said to turn our bodies into the divine body. And Hatha Yoga says, Amrita, the liquid of immortality, is like nectar. It exudes from the Chandra center in the center of the head, deep behind the eyebrows. Who swallows this clear liquor, dripping from the brain into the heart and obtained by means of meditation, becomes free from disease and tender in the body, like the stalk of a lotus, and will live a very long life. Okay, so, oh my God, look what CSF does. You know, it's piezoelectric, just like a crystal, meaning you can activate its flow of energy and release of light through specific practices. So we live in a time that's like instant gratification and instant results. So I'm really recommending this. It flows in a double helix or two streams around a central channel, which you'll probably hear me say a million times. I always talk about the heart flow. The blood flow in the heart does not flow as a steady stream. It flows in like two streams that flow and spin on their own individual axis around a third, like around a third stream. So it's in that DNA shape, that spiral, that dance, where you have the two intertwining and spinning. So not just the blood flow to the heart that flows like that. The cerebral spinal fluid literally flows like that. I love that information. You'll hear me say it a million times. Okay, so it doesn't just flow through your spinal column in these three rivers. It actually spirals through them. And the German word for spinal column is actually spiral column. And the German word for vertebrae is vortices. And what's interesting about that is vortexes act as portals of energy transference, as water as the mediator between physicality and the 0 point energy of the quantum field. And these vertebral vortices along your spine also structure your cerebral spinal fluid, making it a more conductive liquid. So the fact that, in German, that's what they say is very telling, very revealing. And then again, it's one molecule different than seawater. Okay, biophotonic. So how did it read? How did this ancient crystalline, how was it able to read me through the cerebral spinal fluid, but biophotonically? Biophoton emissions, what is that? It's the spontaneous emission of ultra-weak light emanating from all living systems, including man. The emission is linked to the endogenous production of excited states within the living system. The detection and characterization of human biophoton emission has led to suggestion it has potential future applications in medicine, obviously. So in simpler terms, our bodies emit a type of light called biophotons, and these are very weak particles of light that you can't see just looking with the naked eye. Although to me, I believe that yes, you can in certain states, but it can be detected with special instruments. The eye itself, I love this part. The fact that the eye itself emits light. when exposed to ambient photons, and the light emission has been linked to brain activity and visual perception. Our DNA, emits that too. So biophotons are not just random emissions; they play a role in communication between cells and living organisms. They allow for faster transfer of energy and information compared to chemical processes. Studies have shown that different colors of light can stimulate biophoton activity in nerve cells. So, suggesting that light can be used as a form of neural communication. Even at the molecular level, DNA has been found to emit biophotons. It is believed that DNA relies on these particles of light for its stability and functioning. So overall, biophotons and non-thermal particles of light produced within our bodies as a result of energy, metabolism, and biochemical reactions serve as a means of communication between cells and play an important role in various biological processes. So the power of intention affects photons. Direct intention manifests itself as electric and magnetic energy, producing an ordered flux of photons. Our intentions seem to operate as highly coherent frequencies capable of changing the molecular structure of matter. Like, you hear about like remote healing and stuff. And how are they able to do that? Cases of spontaneous cures of remote healing of extremely ill patients represent instances of this. And you can really make that difference. So, So really quick, it's interesting with the cerebral spinal fluid, that it's, constantly transmitting vibration and light, and the energetic fluid that it creates can reach every major center of the brain, and the entire central nervous system instantaneously and non-sympathetically, meaning without thought process. So it creates a spontaneous states of consciousness that arise not through mental thought, but through the wisdom of a light that is conducted by water. And this explains why intuition and meditative states are non-thought based, non-synaptic, and sometimes precognitive, because they arise as a sense of knowing instantaneously, not as thoughts, just as antennas of CSF water, and which is made, it goes along your entire nervous system and throughout your spine, and made the long journey through the superhighway of your spinal column, and it culminates in the third ventricle at the center of the brain, just in front of the pineal gland. So these two glands are always bathed, like in the cerebral spinal fluid. So you hear all the time of what the pineal does, but what flows through it is, to me, just as profound. Okay, so the good news. Okay, this is a lot of information. I know it's like it's a lot, and it's a lot. So what is the good news? What is the point of this? Like, so I was able to connect to this place. Well, I mean, I spent years really working on, meditation and visions, and developing it and practicing, and which was really intense. And you got to be really determined, and you have to be also extremely, my journey was, I had to be extremely disciplined, and because there's things that can affect that. Like cane sugar, I notice affects it, and eating certain substances and ingesting certain substances, or, that, like alcohol or drug, like that will, to me, make it harder to connect and to reach those higher states, and have that clear connection. So why am I saying this? So I'm trying to stress of, like, I was able to access this spot. I've been able to access places, like, and points in time around the world, like in my living room, like, with obviously strict discipline practices, a lot of practice and time and energy and effort. And, but also like I was able to do it in my living room. So you don't have to physically go there to interface with it. You could do this. You could access things within you from anywhere in the world. And to me, that's everything, because everybody's walking around and they don't know who they are, and they don't know what they want. They don't know where they've been, so they don't know where they're going. And to facilitate something like this, like these practices, purifying is super important. Unlocking things within us, healing them, uncovering these blockages, and doing all the work that it takes to get there is, imperative. And, it's dire and it's so important. There's a lot of people that just want the gratification with it. They just want to be able to do cool stuff like that. I just want to fly around. I want to go back in time. I want to be able to peek through people's life or know things and basically spy. There's a lot of people that want to use it for nefarious reasons, and they just want the powers and they don't want to do the work to do it. So obviously stuff like this is heavily guarded, like it's not just, I would watch your intentions, but it already does. So the good news is you can access it anywhere in the world. You have this amazing fluid inside of you, and that just the divine technology that's flowing through us at this moment. And a lot of us weren't taught about that. We weren't. And it's easy to forget because everything around us, we think such horrible thoughts about ourselves, and we battle that every day. So we don't need any help from people criticizing, and, just certain reminders of like, this place is kind of designed to make you feel bad about yourself at this point. You're kind of bombarded by it all day. But to me, this is hope. And this has been, I highly recommend it. So what do I recommend? Cleansing, like that's something that I cannot stress enough. It is very spiritual and it's very disciplined. And I always say that the spiritual battle is in your gut. It's in your gut, and like good versus evil. And then you have to have that gut balance, that world balance of like the good and the evil. And when it becomes overbalanced, like it affects, if the bad bacteria overgrows and, becomes dominant in your inner realm, in your gut, it throws off your brain, it throws off your whole system. But to live as though the spiritual battle is in your gut is very helpful. So discipline it takes a lot of discipline, but the payoffs are amazing, and you're going to learn so much about yourself, and things are just going to unfold and they line up. And you're also working with things spiritually. You have like, you have like a virtual assistant that pops up like on certain sites when you're shopping. It's kind of like that. Like imagine like a virtual assistant, but like spiritually, like you're getting help spiritually by things that work with you and help you when you fast, when you cleanse, like, and it's like some pretty amazing guidance system that begins to happen. So if you're looking for a spiritual experience, look no further than begin cleansing. So yeah, I recommend parasite cleanses. I recommend doing a heavy metal detox and, pulling that out, and then a liver flush, because sometimes those heavy metals can get stuck in your liver and you really want to flush that out. I recommend meditating, like no distractions. I recommend, but also like when you do it, when you lay down and you do it, I would give it like 15 minutes, like a warm up period where it's like, imagine a river and it's going, and all your thoughts and whatever you think you want to know or see, or whatever thoughts that come up, like let those pass, like it's coming down the river in a boat. Like, oh, that thought. Yeah. Oh no, I was worried about that. Oh, that hurt my feelings. Oh, I didn't get that done. Oh, I was, whatever it is, let all those flow. And it seems to be around 15, 17, 20 minutes. Like at first, when you first start, that you purge all that out, and then the real meditations begin. It starts then, like at the 20-minute marker, and then count it from there. And and just, try not even to think of time. I'm saying time, but it's because I'm maybe trying to trick you into start wanting to do it and being disciplined about it, maybe. But also, the water that we drink is very important, but I understand that the water system, like, it's very expensive, and most people can't afford getting like crazy water filters that are crazy expensive. But your water, try to drink the best water, and try not to have it in plastic, because, or even just having coffee in plastic, because of absorbing some of those things, and it just makes it more difficult. But breath work practices, speak your intentions into water, like speak into your water and before you drink it, and just eat as clean as you can, and try not to ingest mucus creating foods. But this was my presentation. Normally I chat a lot more during it, but I just really wanted to get the information out, and I wanted a video on it. And I just hope that it reaches you and maybe changes. And I hope, not maybe, I hope it changes your entire world for the better. I hope, there's a ton of people that watch it and they start meditating and their life changes and they see all kinds of amazing stuff. But thank you. And yeah, let me know what you think about cerebral spinal fluid, and if any of you reach any awesome destination.